Hey guys, welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine, and this is your Fanatics Call In, part of your daily show where you guys get an opportunity to call in on the show. I'm your host Khalid Mohidin, and this is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. Now, as I said, you have an opportunity to obviously ask your comments in the live chat. It was quite hectic last night, so I decided that over the week, and obviously on Sunday it was hectic as well, and I missed a lot of your comments. So I've decided to activate Super Chat. So you guys can do a super chat at the bottom. There's a little icon that looks like a little dollar sign at the bottom of the comment section, which you can just click there, and you can say the amount that you want to highlight your comment for. We're gonna have quite a few call-ins on the show, and we're gonna talk about all these major topics that happened. But I'm gonna just give you a brief overview. But before we get there, guys, don't forget to obviously subscribe to this channel. Click that notification bell for all future videos. Now let's get into it. So first and foremost, we know about the two particular cases that were of coronavirus cases that happened before the bio bubble. Those players were obviously sent home, and because of that, they have had to make adjustments to the team. Now, we first saw the initial adjustments with Michael Pretorius coming into the side, and then we saw another adjustment made with three extra players, Dwayne Pretorius and Keegan. Dwayne Pretorius was called up to the side. Obviously, Luther Sapamla and Reinhard van Tonder was one that was quite popular all over the show. And obviously on Twitter, on Facebook, people were debating whether he should start, whether he shouldn't. And then that particular time, the whole debate was, no, Keegan Peterson should start. Now we've gotten a latest, obviously, announcement. They are not allowed to, as we were said in the press conference, to release the names that were positive. But they said they will release the squad, and we'd have to deduct who the two positive cases were from the squad. And that's the assumption that most people are going to make. So I'm going to put up the particular squad on the screen so you guys can all see. And this is the final 17-man now squad. It's reduced from 19. So you have all your regular guys that you know about, but this might mean that we might see a change in the, you can say, in the top order now, with Keegan Peterson not out, because a lot of people would have said that he should start, and people were like, should riot if it doesn't happen, etc. So this is going to be excellent. We're going to be talking about that particular team, and then we're going to allow you guys to call in on the show. So if you want to call into the show, there is a link in the live chat that I posted before the show so that you guys can quickly call in and have your say. There's also a link in the description that you can click on, and then you can call in on the show, have your say. But I have some callers waiting. But we're going to start off this whole debate because something also broke yesterday. So much news stories have broken in the last couple of 24 hours or so, where Kallis has signed to be a consultant with England for the Sri Lanka series. Now, we know about the Sri Lankan conditions, and we know that Kallis was great against spin. And me particularly, I'm not very chuffed about it. I felt that South Africa should have kept him. I think that he was someone that could have helped the youngsters. What a lot of people didn't know is that he had to leave the camp initially when England was here, early for the Newlands test, because for the Newlands series in the ODIs, because he had other prior commitments that he had to take care of. So he had to leave, and he didn't actually spend a lot of time with the youngsters as we would have thought he would have. And I would have liked to see Zubair Hamza, obviously Calvin Rayner, and those youngsters get an opportunity to learn from Kallis as much as possible. I don't think they got the major experience tips from him that I would have liked. I think it was somewhat reduced. And so I would have liked maybe a short stint, obviously, for this particular series, and obviously for Pakistan as well. I would have liked Kallis to be a part of the team. We have Neil McKenzie as a batting lead, and that basically just means that he's on standby basically to help any team anywhere in the country. So I know that he was helping out with some of the youngsters in some camps over here in South Africa, in Cape Town as well, where some franchises call for him and ask for his help, and they ask to ask him to kind of give them tips along with the actual franchises batting coaches that are already present, or the coaches that are present. So that's what he's going to be doing for across the board. So that's what we're going to be talking about, and we're going to have some callers speak about what they think about Kallis obviously moving and whether they would have wanted to go. So we have our first caller on the line, and that's Tim, the cricket guy. You would know him from Twitter. I'm so excited because it's his debut on the show. He's written an article for Cricket Fanatics magazine already, and it was an excellent article on Nasser Hussain, which you guys must go check out. I know it's after the England tour, and it was only last year's England tour that he wrote it, but it was still very, very relevant to this day. So welcome to the show, Tim. I'm so glad that you're here. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Can't complain.
Yeah, awesome, man. So when this news broke initially, what was your first reaction about Kallis?
I was very, very upset. And if I'm honest, I was a little bit surprised because I thought that the decisions and the people that have been brought in were going to be there for at least 3 or 4 tours to give them a comfort zone to see whether they would work out. And like you, I saw firsthand experience of Kallis talking to the Proteas players at Newlands, and I could see that they were listening to him. I could see that he was having an effect. So it does upset me, but at the end of the day, I suppose we have a batting lead, which and Neil McKenzie has been with the Proteas before, so it's not all bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I even saw you. I don't know if you guys saw the thumbnail, but I have a picture there with Kallis and his phone. Now, many people will look at that picture and say, "What is going on over there?" And I'm going to explain to you. So basically, I was watching him in the nets, and he was with Janaman Malan, and it was obviously before the ODI series. And basically, what Kallis was doing, he was taking videos of the batsmen so that they can go look back and see what they look like, and then he helps them, and he's standing there and giving them tips. You see, when you do this. So it's like he added modern day technology into his coaching style, which I loved as well. What do you think the biggest aspect of Kallis's coaching or his experience that we're going to miss out on? What do you think is the biggest aspect?
Experience. The experience of being there. We've got a very young, inexperienced, and when I say young, I mean inexperienced middle order that are desperate for somebody to talk to them who's been there, who's done that, who's been at the coalface of international cricket. You talk about an instance with Janaman Malan. I remember an occasion at Newlands when he was with Peterson. And I remember watching him at the nets, and he was telling Peterson different things to do, different things to focus on. And after the net, there was a discussion between the two of them, and then Kallis just started to walk, and Peterson called him over and wanted him to emphasize what he just said. You could see by the hand movements that he wanted. He was taking every single word that Kallis was talking about. And then I brought it up at the press conference, and he said that was what it was. And he was incredibly impressed with Peterson as an individual, and looking forward to seeing that. So it's the youngsters that I'm going to miss out on having that experience.
Yeah, I 100% agree. To the guys that have just tuned in, to all of you, the comments have been quite crazy, like I said at the beginning. So there is an option for you guys to get your comments highlighted. I see over there that there has one already, a super chat being called, and I will bring it onto the screen so that you guys have an opportunity. There's a little dollar sign in the bottom corner, and you can choose what you want to pick. So I'm going to bring on the next caller, and that is Mpo. You would have seen him on a lot of our streams. Mpo, just give me your take on this particular news.
Look, I think when I read it, I was slightly surprised, and largely because I think, let me caveat this, I wasn't, in as much as I admire Kallis and think he's got the experience, I wasn't necessarily happy with his initial appointment, largely because of the proximity to which he has to the director of cricket, which is what CSA, if you read the Fiduci report, that's everything that's happened that was wrong with South African cricket. The process needed to be provided, and it's about giving people an opportunity to apply for jobs that are there and available. I understand how great Jacques Kallis is, and his experience speaks for itself, and he would win in any job application interview. It's just allowing others to get an opportunity. But Smith brought him in, and the players wanted him, so that's fine, and it was great. that last summer the youngsters were happy, and so we thought, okay, if Graham Smith's brought in as director of cricket, this is what he's going to bring. He's going to bring back those guys who have left South African cricket because they didn't want to be a part of what was going on, and he's bringing them back in to help develop this team and help this team to win. So now the issue that I have now with this press release was, okay, fine. If that was your plan, I understand that CSA said that consultants, if the consultants' jobs must be attended, must be applied for, and a proper application process must be followed, and you must prove that no candidate of color could not do that job. And so the interesting part about this one was I always thought that because of that caveat, Jacques Kallis is very easy. 12,000 test runs, the most test runs in South Africa. It's an easy one to say he should be the batting consultant because no one else has that experience. Outside of the guys who've taught themselves through the coaching structures, they never had the opportunity to play for South Africa, but they're very good coaches as well. And there are a lot of those guys. I think the Lions have a great batting coach. And there's a lot of those guys in and around. And the only other person who you could possibly say could be a batting consultant at the level of Jacques Kallis is Hashim Amla, but I don't think Hash at the time he was looking to play for Surrey. So those were the thoughts that I had. So I was surprised when Jacques Kallis wasn't selected, went for England, because I thought him and the director of cricket had a plan for the future. And that's the question that we need to ask the director of cricket is, what's the plan for the future? Did you have conversations with Jacques to try to bring him in? And what did you see as a lay of the land? Because yes, as Tim says, our youngsters are going to lose out. And here's the other thing for me, is that players of color, like Keegan Peterson, like Timber Bavum, have never had the opportunity to be mentored by guys like Jacques Kallis. It's always been preserved for guys who looked like Jacques, and it always went that way. And that's the way South Africa's always been, is that players who aren't players of color never had that opportunity to be mentored coming up the structure by someone like a Jacques Kallis. That's always preserved for white players, and I'm gonna put that there. And so that's where I feel we've lost out, especially for the players of color coming up in the system, is that you've lost out on that ability to have Jacques Kallis. Keegan Peterson's game improved immensely last year, and so I'm just disappointed that the director of cricket and the way in which he's come in with all the demands and everything he's come in and the power that he yielded, who wasn't able to try and get his friend to come in into the structures. Yes, there'll always be criticism, but you can't back away from criticism. Yes, we criticized it because we wanted process to be followed and give other people an opportunity, because I'm always of the believer that, yes, there's always the obvious candidate, but sometimes there's the other candidates that also need to give you an opportunity that might bring something that you never thought of. And that's the thing about South African cricket. It's always about opportunity. All other cricketing nations, it's about merit. In South Africa, it's about giving people opportunities. And this Jacques Kallis move on the other end gave opportunities to players of color to be able to be mentored by him in the system, to learn from a guy like that, because they'd never get that. And so I'm really disappointed in that. And I think the director of cricket, once we have an opportunity to sit in front of him, needs to be asked. The other thing for Kallis is I'm happy that he's gaining the coaching experience, because just being a great batter and being South Africa's best batsman doesn't mean that you can translate it. Yes, we saw moments of what he was trying to do last year, and we're really impressed by it, but he needs to gain that experience. And I think this England stint will give him a lot more experience to be a proper coach and a fully fledged coach. Because the other question is, Ashwell Prince, couldn't he be a proper batting consultant? You know? And that's what I was thinking last year. You know, there are lots of other people who have given themselves to coaching in cricket. Couldn't they be given an opportunity like Neil McKenzie? Neil McKenzie's done the hard yards from a coaching perspective. Jacques necessarily hasn't. And that's where the anger was last year was, but wait, Jacques hasn't given himself enough time to be in coaching structures outside of the IPL. And whereas there are others who actually gave their life to cricket in coaching and South African cricket. So that's where I think everything is. And with the new interim board, I thought you could always fight to get Jacques Kallis in, because the new interim board is seemingly stripping everything that's wrong in South African cricket.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to experience, I mean, we don't have that necessarily in the dressing room as much as we used to. When a youngster came into the system or into the team, that they could look around the dressing room and they'll see the likes of Hashim Amla, AB de Villiers, Faf du Plessis, Dean Alga. Then not only that, before that, obviously Jacques Kallis, Sean Pollock, Herschel Gibbs, all of those guys. If you're looking around the changing room, you come into an experienced dressing room. Graham Smith, of course, Mark Boucher. And you look at Mackay and Teeny, all of those type of players before when a youngster used to come into the system, because those players played for they're generational talents, man. They played for so many years and generations at the top level. Now you're sitting in a situation where a lot of them have retired. So you have to replace these guys with youngsters. And now these youngsters walk into a dressing room and there's this Dean and Faf that is there really for experience. If you're talking about age and experience with Test. And then obviously KG Rabada, who has Tests under his belt. But I mean, from an age perspective, he's not necessarily that experienced.
Can I come on just quickly on something that Paul said? I think that the important thing is that we can't understate the vitriol that Kallis got. He got the appointment. It's fine. It's fine to question the appointment. It's fine. I have no problem with that. But the vitriol that he got towards that does not create an atmosphere where players like him feel like, okay, I want to be involved with cricket in Africa. I do have a slight problem with stuff like that. I have no problem with them going to England. That's his choice. But if we get people in, whoever they are, we have to trust the setup there that they've got that person in for the right reasons. I know we've had our problems in the past. We've got to actually, wherever we get in, we've got to go, okay, let's give the guy a chance. Kallis had one tour. That was it.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring on another caller because we're going to try to keep the show about 30 minutes. So I'm going to bring on another caller. We've got Aditya over here. Aditya, you've heard all of this. All of us speak. What is your thought? Obviously, from an outsider's point of view, what are your thoughts of Jacques Kallis obviously signing with England?
It's great that he's getting the coaching experience with England. But on the other side, and of course, what we're saying is sort of speculative because we haven't heard Kallis' side of the story. But I think if there's a lesson to be learned generally, it's that it's important to look after your players and your coaches. I think Kallis has in the past expressed his grievances with the system, and it appears as if that may have contributed to him picking a role with England, a short-term role with England, versus a potential short-term role in South Africa. And I guess it's important to be realistic as well from a financial point of view, that no matter what Cricket South Africa may pay him, I think England has the resources to pay him a lot more. And I guess given the economic conditions of the country, and although he may come from a wealthy background, he is still going to think of his economic situation as well. So I guess there are a multitude of factors there, but most important for me would be to think about the relationship between Cricket South Africa and, I guess, former players.
Anybody want to rebuttal that or say anything on that, Paul?
Look, I do agree that we need to find a way to take care of former internationals, and guys who've served the country well. But CSA does have coaching courses and things that and structures in place to help people do that. The problem that many had around the vitriol and everything else was just because the man's never put his hand up before, and all of a sudden Graham comes in and Jacques there. But you've had many other proteas who've tried to coach, who are trying to get their coaching badges. We've got systems to do the coaching badges for, and all of a sudden he comes in and here he is. But then, and his only experience was that he's South Africa's #1 run scorer, which is great. But guys have put up their hand. And what do you say about guys who won't be able to play international cricket, but love the game and want to get into coaching, but you can't get in there because there's always going to be an international player, former international, who's going to try pip you at the post. And that's where the vitriol came in, was that, okay, guys, we need to find, and it's just about finding a process. And that's what CSA tried to do with creating that system that maybe I agree with slightly, but to make sure that, it's a fair process and everyone gets a fair shake and it gets a fair look in, because in as much as he's done so well on the field, it may not necessarily translate to being a good coach. And that's what we've seen throughout history, is that, the greatest players may not always be the greatest coaches.
Tim, do you have anything to add on Aditya?
I do agree that the last bit. I'm not saying that he is the greatest coach, not necessarily at all. But what I would say is that we all want a system where everything's fair. Yes, 100%. But at the same time, whoever's at the top is always going to employ somebody that they are comfortable with. They're not going to employ somebody that they don't know.
But here's the thing: in South Africa, that's where the problem lies.
That
people,
if they don't know, then it really creates a problem. I understand outside it doesn't look good. I understand that, but you have to have a balance somewhere. And it's fine to question things. Question things fine, but the vitriol was just was unacceptable.
Yeah, things can be obviously dealt with a lot more humane manner. There's some of the outcries that happen on social media is just unacceptable. We can see that sometimes in a couple of streams ago when we did stuff on the test team and the amount of cruel things that are said. I think things can be done in the right manner and with the right sane way. You don't have to get we don't have to get uptight about things like it happens on Twitter. Like things go crazy. But Paul, what do you want to add to that?
No, what I'm saying is I think picking people you're comfortable with sometimes is what is wrong with South Africa in the first place. South Africa is in this racial little situation right now, largely because of the fact that we're picking people for jobs in corporate South Africa across the board, even in sport, based on comfort, rather than necessarily giving people a fair opportunity. And that's where it is. It's what's led our country to be where it is right now, where a small portion of the population are holding the largest portion of the wealth because it's going around the same circles. And to a certain extent, transforming South African cricket is part of that. It doesn't mean just because you can throw black people into a system that it will change. The systems are built in order to preserve the privilege that certain people get. And that's why there was a lot of vitriol around that, because it was just, I'm picking someone I'm used to. But did you apply your mind, Graham Smith, to other options and other candidates who could be a coach? It's not just because he's my friend or whoever it is. Did you apply your mind? And that's what we like to see. We'd like to see that process. We like to see that process documented. So we are comfortable that, yes, okay, fine. Yes, Jacques is the number one candidate, but you've looked at everyone else and he's the best candidate for the job, rather than, no, I know Jacques and he's my friend.
So I think that people feel a lot more comfortable. I do think that people feel a lot more comfortable if things are a little bit more transparent with regards to that. If they can show, look here, there have been guys that have applied for this job, and these are the guys that have applied, and we've decided to go with this and that. I don't know what the rules and the laws are around revealing that information to the public. They'll obviously have to be transparent with that as well in a particular press conference. For example, I know that they approached Ashwell Prince for the SIA job, and Ashwell Prince turned it down because I don't know for what exactly the reasons are. And I know that he obviously was with the Cobras, and he's looking to obviously win some trophies there and actually build a team over there. And he has a very young, new team that is trying to grow there. So he's obviously decided not to take that particular role. There are some guys in the system. Yes, we have to look around and find them. I think that at that particular time, I can understand the thought process that Graham Smith had when he selected the guys that he had. My whole argument was, for example, with Enoch and with Mark Boucher, but I don't want to get into this particular thing. I think this is more for a Sunday podcast. We have an hour to talk. I'm just going to get into a few comments before we get to a bye. We have Werner that said, no, wait, let me just wait. That's Ashwell. You see, guys, this is why I say super chats are important, because I have to scroll through 100 comments. Okay, we've got it's great for loss for SA Cricket, but good questions is, who is current batting consultant for the Proteas? In what capacity will Neil McKenzie be involved as a batting coach? I think that they will call on Neil McKenzie when they need him. If the Proteas women need him, they'll call him. If the SA under-19s need him, they'll call him. If the Proteas women under-19s need him, they will call him. That's the role of a batting lead. I don't know who the batting consultant is. I would like to know if they're going to have a batting consultant as well, because Neil McKenzie was just supposed to back up where the gaps were. Currently, there's a gap, so I think that he'll probably be in the camp. I'm hoping that that's the case. Let's go look on Instagram to see if we see him in any of the net pictures. so, so I absolutely agree with them on mishandling colors and the environment being so toxic. Once you say only black consultants, this demands you don't consider colors as the best in the business. Important, I know, don't you're going to want to comment on that rather than just keep it. This is just the comments and opinions of the fans at the moment. Ravi says, I'm not going to get into the labor legislation of SA, but Kallis is effectively doing the right thing for his career. We may even get a better consultant in the form of Jacques Kallis. Okay, let's go. We have another caller waiting on the line patiently, all the way from America. We've got Mr. Bye.
Oh,
Wow.
it's been quite some time. Long time no see. But I'm finally here.
Yeah, you've been studying and studying and studying. I've already heard from you. Normally, I'll
Finally
get
free now. So
Yeah.
I'm ready when you are. Yeah.
Oh yes, now we're gonna have an abundance of Abai. The abundant Abai. Look at Abai. Abai, just your thoughts, quick thoughts on this. I know Tim is strapped for time and he only has about 30 minutes to chat to us here. And I want to get into the test squad and get his thoughts on that. So what I'm going to do with the test squad, I'm going to put it up on the screen and each of you guys can just say what you're happy about, what you're not happy about. But let's just get your comments on colors. No rebuttals for this one, guys.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a bittersweet situation. Like I'm happy about the fact that he found a team to help out, but then again, I think he's a big loss for South African cricket. But then again, this isn't something to lose hope on because the Proteas are still in transitional phase, and I'm pretty sure there will be light at the end of the tunnel. So as much as this may be a little bit disappointing to South African fans, I think this is no time to give up hope. In fact, this is the perfect time to support the team to a greater extent. Yeah.
Now you understand why the American dream was created. Positivity is just there. Okay, guys, let's get into the test team. Tim, I'm gonna let you speak, and then once you're done, if you need to go, you can leave, and at least you've given your comments on the test team. But I really want to get your thoughts on the test side. So here's the test squad. What are your thoughts on the test squad so far? Are you happy? What you're happy with? What you're not happy with?
I'm pretty happy, all things considered. And I'm glad the likes of Sturman and Pretorius have been rewarded for consistently doing well. But overall, I'm pretty happy. My worries were always going to be there. Whoever we were going to pick, my worries were always going to be there. We're always going to be inexperienced in the bowling and and very inexperienced in the middle order. That was always going to be the fact, whoever we picked. But I'm happy. I'm happy as I can be.
Cool. Okay, so thanks, Tim, for coming on the show. I'm obviously.
I'll go over now.
Okay, cool. Okay, awesome. I like that. Okay, so from your side, and Paul, what is your thoughts on the squad? What do you like? What don't you like?
I'm just sad that Bjorn Hendricks and Keegan Peterson aren't in the side. I think they would have started on Saturday. Yeah, but look, I think it's. I'm happy that Reina van Tonder finally got into the side. I don't think he's going to start. I think we're going to see a much more similar 11 to what played against England outside of the bowling attack. So the batting 7 might be similar with Dwayne Pretorius filling in there at that number 7 spot. But outside of that, I just want to see Test cricket on Saturday.
Yeah. Oh, Calvarena coming in. Maybe there's a choice for Calvarena to come in. Okay. Aditya, your turn, bro. What's your thoughts on the squad?
Again, I think the bowling is a bit inexperienced, but a great opportunity for them to prove their credentials against an inexperienced Sri Lankan side as well. And the batting group is going to be similar to what we had. And again, it's a good opportunity for them to get runs under their belt after England last year. So all in all, I think it's sort of expected. But yeah, I'm excited to see the youngsters.
It will be a massive, I wouldn't say shock for me, but I'll have a massive smile on my face if they do give a Reinhard van Tonder a chance. It shows their thought process for the future, because if they give him an opportunity at 3, it's unfortunate about Keegan, because I really wanted Keegan to start and I really wanted to see him play. This might mean that they might move Rassie van der Dussen to number 3. That might be an option where he plays, well, you could say he played sometimes for his franchise in that position. And some people might say that he's more suited to the 3 role, even though a lot of people might also say that number 4 is better for him and Faf at 5. So that leaves a vacancy at 3 and it leaves a vacancy now at 6. Obviously, a lot of people believe that Temba Bavuma has solidified his spot at 6. Some people say that another guy needs to get an opportunity there. So we've got Vian Mulder, who bats at 5 and can bowl, which is an awesome opportunity for him also as a youngster, maybe to get an opportunity high up the order, to bat at maybe at 5 or at 6 as an all-rounder, to have that extra seamer option, especially with the inexperience in the bowling lineup, especially with regards to the seamers, obviously. But Abai, your thoughts on the squad? What were you happy about? What weren't you happy about? Who would you like to have seen?
Okay, so I think. So the first positive, I think, is the fact that those who have performed nicely in recent times in the 4-day series are getting rewarded. So guys like Sarel Ervia and Reinhard van Tonder, Luto Sepamla, all these guys have pretty good potential. But then again, I think, it's quite disappointing to see Keegan Peterson and Bjorn Hendricks missing out. I think Keegan Peterson would have done nicely. And we all know Bjorn Hendricks' ability. He took 5 wickets against England on his Test debut, and he offers something different with his left arm angle. So it's quite disappointing to see that both of them missed out. But all in all, I think I'm looking forward to a great contest. I hope we can bounce back from the last time Sri Lanka visited. So hopefully 2-0 South Africa. Yeah.
I love it. Let's look at some of the comments over here. We've got Very Rasmut Khalid will be throwing a party if Raja comes into the today. We might have a 2-hour stream afterwards. Yeah, we might have a 2-hour stream after. There's your 2-hour stream, Tim. So is Neil McKenzie, Shoaib, I agree that Jacques Kallis is a loss. There's no opportunity for him specifically. We have Neil at the moment, who served Bangladesh well in his tenure. Frederick saying there is no winning mentality in the Proteas. We spoke hectically about that in the previous magazines. Please go look at that, guys, because when you listen to a guy like, for example, Enoch Nkwe talk about this, you might learn a thing or two about that man's temperament and the way he thinks about cricket. It's excellent. I don't think that the winning mentality is not coming from the Proteas side. It's about building the correct team to be able to implement the style of cricket that they want to play and build those type of mentality within the squad. It's difficult when you have to give new people a chance all the time. Abai wants Malcolm Knopfel to get a call up.
Ravi, I'm going to bring him on one of the future shows. So let's see. But
Okay.
yeah, the 3-day series is going to start next month. So got to watch out.
Yeah. So this is one actually for Tim, because obviously we spoke about Dom, me and you, we've spoken about Dom before, why Dom Hendricks is not in the side. I personally think that it's about time that he did get an opportunity. I think that he's been such a servant for the Lions. There has been some obviously talk about playing at particular grounds, not necessarily doing well in the coastal tour areas. That is more of a, like, everybody performs well in Bloemfontein on flat tracks, etc. I mean, you can look at Reinhard van Tonder's all 6 of his centuries were scored at Bloemfontein. So I think, Abai's going to do an excellent piece on Dom for the next issue of the magazine. So I want you guys to obviously look at that and look at how he thinks about the game of cricket. Tim, is there anything that you can maybe add with regards to Dom Hendricks, and particularly why you think that he hasn't been selected?
Scores too slowly. You need to have a yin and a yang around goal at the opening. Scores too slowly when you consider him with Sarel Ervia's strike rate, and Sarel Ervia's average is significantly better. So that is why. Dom's a good player. He's a good player, but he needs to rotate the strike better if he wants to go to that next level. If you look at his strike rate, he doesn't score and he couldn't have breaks. I can't remember who the strike rate is, but I looked it up the other day.
Yeah.
So it's a good player. Saro Irvia is the upgrade. No doubt about it. No doubt about
Okay.
it. And
So I'm gonna try to bring up a piece that I did recently. I did a piece on this where I looked at the last 5 seasons in the franchise arena, and I've looked at who were the top scorers, what were their averages. I asked Andrew Sampson to help me out with this, to give me those particular numbers so that I can have a look at it. The article is on the site for you guys to go check. I'm going to put it in the live chat right now so you guys can obviously have a look as well. And you can go and have a look at what those stats were, because I think over a 5-year period is a very good way to 5-season period is a very good way to actually look at who's been performing in the last 5 series, of course. When I look at it, and I look at the stats, obviously we have Eddie Moore on the top of the standings with 42 matches, 76 innings, an average of 40.50, and a strike rate of 55.41. Second on the log in 38 matches, we have obviously Rudy second, and he's done it at an average of 51.40 and a strike rate of 56. But let's scroll down to look at Dom Hendricks and look at Cyril Irvia. So we've got Cyril Irvia that has scored in 29 matches, has scored 2,100 runs at an average of 51 and a strike rate of 50.94. Where Dom Hendricks has played more matches, right? 35 matches. He scored only 2,000 runs, and he has an average of 35.566 and a strike rate of 42.68. So what Tim is saying is actually true. It matches up with regards to the difference in the strike over the last obviously 5 years. I'm not denying that in the last couple of seasons, though, Dom Hendricks has been in hot form. He's been in absolutely magnificent form this season as well. And you have to look, like he said, like a yin and yang performance type of thing. When you're looking at the type of openers, you can't have 2 Dean Elgers. We're going to be sitting there for we're going to have a day of the first session. We're going to be sitting there for with 100 by the end of the day. so I mean, I'm obviously exaggerating a bit, but those are the type of things. I mean, Paul, do you have a thought? Because I know you're a Lions fan. Mixed match.
Yes, to a certain extent. A couple of my friends went to school with Dom. And I agree, and to a certain extent, that's one of the reasons why I didn't necessarily pick Dom in that side. I think if you look at that Lions side, he's been the anchor of that side once the Proteas have left, and he bats really well. I find he bats really well when the Lions are under a little bit of pressure. Because it suits his game, his strike rate he slows the game down. And if I look at a couple of the games this season where the Lions have played, I think the first game they played against the Knights in Johannesburg, there were a couple of quick wickets, and then he was the anchor, and the wickets falling around him, but he stayed. And that's the type of role Dean Elgar fills in the side. But look, I think the past couple of seasons, he's knocking on the door. There's a long line of openers, guys we haven't spoken about. Eddie Moore seemingly is now no longer spoken about. Zubair Hamza, he's not an opener, but he needs to be spoken about. The 2 openers at the Cape Cobras as well. So I always felt that he was way down on the pecking order. But look, if we're going into this new era and we're going into this new season, 2021 could present an opportunity for him to get into side, and that's all I want. And it's about being consistent. I think right now, if you can score runs consistently at a domestic level, there's no reason why you shouldn't be in and around the Protea setup.
Mm-hmm. Abai, big fan. I know you're a big fan of Dom. We had him on obviously in one of our daily shows where we chatted to him. Amazing human being, amazing mentality, the way he thinks about the game. And I know from the youngsters in that side, they always speak highly of Dom and what he teaches them when they come into the side. Josh Richards, Vian Mulder spoke about it, on how he's helped his batting. There's so many youngsters that come into the line setup and they learn so much about him. Is there any thoughts that you have about?
Going back to what Tim said, I think the slow strike rate, I kind of beg to differ over there, because if you look at India, for example, if you look at Pujara, he doesn't have a good strike rate per se, but he knows how to get the job done. And if you look at Dom Hendricks in recent times, I think he's good at consuming balls, and he's good at batting for a long time. And I think over the course of time, he's become a more reliable feature in the line setup. So I think I think that would I think his approach would probably best explain why he isn't in the side at the moment. But I think if he has a breakthrough season, that could put him in closer proximity to the team. As far as Lubabalo's comment is concerned, I got answers from him yesterday afternoon, so I should have the article done by next week. And the magazine should be out soon, and you can have a look.
Yeah, and I think Tim's comment. I'm speaking for Tim on Tim's behalf, but he's talking about it's fine to have one of them at the top of the order, but you actually need someone at the other end that also can score some runs. Is that what you were trying to say, Tim?
Yes. Also, Jari is not an opener. Does his role magnificently, but it's not an opener. So yeah, that was basically my point. If you look at the two between Hendricks and Irvia on not only on the last 5 seasons, this season, the gap's big. Hendricks averages 40, Irvia averages 60. Hendricks is a perfectly good player, but Irvia deserves his chance in the team.
Yeah, and I think Peter Malan and so many other first openers as well. But I mean, Peter had his chance. They're giving Sarro a chance. I don't want to go and criticize the team that he selected now. I think that we have to now support. We have to, Proteas fans, we are massive fans. We'll be so passionate. I think there's a time that you can criticize, and that was obviously leading up to and say who you think. And then when the team comes out, criticize all you want. But there's a time now where we need to focus. And there's a time that we need to obviously turn things on. The squad is selected. There's nothing we can do about it. So now we support. And that's why Protea is so important. And I know South Africans, we are very passionate and we love our teams, and we can actually aid our team in performing better. We're almost like extra players. We can see how they do it in the World Cup. You can see the type of mentality that someone like Rassie Erasmus brought into the camp. If you've watched Chasing the Sun, you will see there was a lot of negativity around race and stuff that happened halfway through the actual World Cup, and they had to fight through all of that. The unit itself within that camp had to stay strong and fight through it. And when we got through the stages, how did South Africa support their side? They came behind them. It was so amazing to see when that trophy was being paraded around in town, what it was like. Everybody from every single culture, race, whatever you want to call it, were there together, celebrating, singing together. And that's what we want to see in South Africa. We just want to see more of that. But guys, it's been a 42-minute stream. Normally my daily shows aren't that long. I'm so sorry that I didn't get to all of your comments. Like I said, I've turned on the super chat. It's been approved. If you guys want your comments to be highlighted, there's a little dollar sign on the bottom corner of the comment section where you can just help us out and support us. I mean, the lowest amount in rands is 7 rand, which is like you don't even have to spend a lot of money to have to get your things seen. But
if you win once on HQ Trivia, you can get 7 rand.
So what you can do is also it will support us and everybody as well to give you better streams in the future. But thanks a lot to everybody for tuning in. Thanks a lot for everybody for coming on the show. I really enjoyed all of your comments.
Thanks a lot, Khalid.
See you, man. Okay, so guys, you're going to be with me for a little bit by myself. I know you're sick of seeing my face every single day, but thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks for all the support. I've given you guys some new things. Obviously, there's super stickers that you can also get, some emojis and all of those type of things. It really will help us actually do a lot better quality streams. It will be able to help me and the people that work for me as well, to help me give them a little bit of bonuses as well. Obviously, it's the Christmas period. It will really help for all future things in with regards to that as well. But that's enough for me for saying that. Thanks a lot for everybody for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to obviously like, comment, share, subscribe. So subscribers are growing quite frequently. So I want you guys to keep it up. Tell all your friends that love cricket in South Africa. Tell them that to come on the stream. We would like your call-ins as well. Come in on the call-in show. We're opening up a lines for you guys to give your opinions like all of the guys that did today. So you can just look on some of our streams. We will announce it on Twitter. We will announce it on Instagram. So follow us there too. If you guys haven't subscribed to the magazine yet, download the latest issue and go subscribe to the magazine. All issues are free. You don't have to pay a cent. So we are putting in a lot of effort for free of charge for you guys so that you can get the best possible quality content that we can find for you. The download link is on the screen and in the description. We just hit 1,000 subscribers with regards to our digital magazine. So thank you for all your support and continue supporting us, of course. If you want to look for daily updates, cricketfanaticsmag.com. There is even a Sri Lanka series tab where you can get updated on everything Sri Lanka series. And if you guys have a business if you guys have a business, even if your business is offline, you're looking to get sales online, even if your business is offline, we have a free tutorial on this channel. And we also have some tabs within our articles. So click on that and you'll obviously get updates on that too. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and we'll see you guys very, very, very soon. Take care, everyone.